dropped everything and went and enlisted. There are several of these movie stars that, I mean, were at the absolute top and pinnacle of their game and who were making huge, huge money, who just dropped it all and were flying like combat missions. And they did it because they were rich, and flying was a big status symbol thing back in the 30s and 40s. They knew how to fly, and they said, well, crap, I have to go do this. I have to go fight in this war, and I have to go fly these airplanes. Now, can you imagine a Brad Pitt doing something like that? I mean, think of any of the big-name movie stars. Can you think of anybody like that today doing anything like that? And the answer is absolutely not. Again, because the culture is so degraded that there's just nobody has any integrity. And it's so amazing to think of the level of integrity that movie stars had, 70 years ago. Think of just the level of integrity among the average Joe 70 years ago, who went and enlisted and kissed his wife and his newborn child goodbye, and went off and died in some ditch in Europe. I mean, seriously, the integrity was there, and it's completely absent now.
Yeah, you don't even have to point out a Brad Pitt or maybe a Hollywood lefty. We got to point to one of our own icons, and you brought it up before, Rush.
Yeah.
I mean, Rush wouldn't. I doubt he would do it. I doubt he would step to the plate. But is the enemy the Treasury or the IRS? Are they the Japs? I don't know if people feel that way yet. I mean, I know that they are. They are our enemy. If you are a devout Christian, making you, they're absolutely making you do something that's against the tenets of your religion, and that's just as bad as anything the Japanese had in store for us.
It's far worse, and I'd even go a step farther, and I'd say that, a lot of people talk about ancient Rome and stuff. To my knowledge, and if there's anybody who has any information contradicting this, please let me know. But to my knowledge, I don't believe that there was any explicit requirement under the Roman Empire for anybody to ever pay for child sacrifice. I don't think there was ever anything like that. Now, one thing ancient Rome did have that we don't have yet, but is probably coming before this is all over, is the blood sports, obviously. But I don't think that that even the late Roman government was at any point setting up abortuaries and going out and standing on the front steps of, the Senate or whatever, and saying, listen, all you sons of bitches, you're going to pay for this. We're gonna abort 20%. We're going to abort one of every 5 children conceived in this country, in the Roman Empire, I should say, and you stupid sons of bitches are going to pay for it, and if you don't, we're going to kill you, we're going to destroy you, we're going to destroy your businesses, we're going to destroy your family. I don't think there was anything like that going on. I mean, there was the persecution of the Christians, obviously, just for being Christian, and there were the blood sports, but I don't think that they had this dynamic that we have now. So, I mean, it's hardcore.
Dagny went on to say that she'd like to ask you, or he would like to ask you about the 100 heads protection guarantee from the sniper and special ops community in the United States. Do you know what she's talking about?
Oh, yeah. When I burned the Koran, when I first did that, I mean, the whole going viral after the Koran burning started on Western rifle shooters, and then just kind of spread from there, and then got on Gates of Vienna, and they did the translations into 10 different languages. But, yeah, the retired sniper and spec ops community, they come out and said, look, if anything happens to you in the wake of this Koran burning, you've got the 100-head protection. We're just going to, if they touch you, we're just going to, it's on, and we're going to go out, and we're going to avenge you. It's like, hey, that's pretty awesome, you know? So I think that I would expect that only applies in the case of Muslims trying anything. But, hey, if the feds come and get me and summarily execute me, well, obviously, that should start a war right there. So,
well, that was specifically asking, does it stand if you're imprisoned? That deal.
Probably not prison, no. It would just be executed.
Okay.
Or assassinated, I should say.
Right. I don't know, a lot of people agreeing with you, but that does you no
I
good.
think,
That does you no good, does it? Admiring your balls, that's not enough. We're halfway there, but
yeah, exactly, because how I actually, if I had to guess on how this is all going to play out, I think a lot of people are right in that I will end up being nothing more than a spectacle and entertainment to people. I just don't get any sense at all whatsoever that there's any willingness among any large number of people out there to get crossways with the IRS, which is sad because that means that it's over. I mean, that means that the war is already won, that people have stopped and thought about it, and the choice is God or the IRS, and everybody's choosing the IRS. And so I'll end up just being, like a reality show. Entertainment, spectacle, oh, look what happened to her. And, we've talked about this before, that, the culture of the country, they watch things happen in real life, and I think that the whole TV and movie culture of the last 60 years has just so deadened people's senses that they can't even process when things are real. They can't parse the difference between fantasy and reality. I mean, I'm convinced that like 85% of the people in this country are now to the point where 9/11 was like a movie or something that happened on TV. It wasn't even real, I think it's kind of the same thing here. People just watch these things happen, and then it's, in order to compartmentalize it in their psyches, they just pretend that it was all fictional to start with, and it was just, it's just something that I saw on the internet, like I would watch a TV show or a movie. And that's probably how it's going to end up with me. But like I told you in the first interview, objective number one for me is getting Anne to heaven, which is no small task. And anything good that comes after that is just by the grace of God, and I'm not personally responsible for it.
And what you described before about explaining away things in our heads to say, well, it's a movie, or it wraps up and it gets tidy in 60 minutes with a happy ending. That's what I was talking about how that may be our mental illness as a society, rather than people pointing at you and saying, well, there's something wrong with Anne. I think there's something wrong with society, and what you've pointed out is a symptom of it.
Absolutely, I'd agree with you.
Lemmings are not us, damn it. That's the screen name. Says, to paraphrase from the movie Gandhi, and I know that you are right, but I don't know if this is right. How do you respond to that?
It kind of sounds like university double-speak gobbledygook. Look, kids, there's only one truth. 2 plus 2 equals 4. It doesn't equal 5 or 7 or 732 or the square root of -5. There's one truth. And, this weird double-speak, I just don't understand that. If you know what the truth is, you need to run at it full speed. And if you're not going to do that, stay the hell out of the way of the people who are trying to do it. Like our Lord said to Peter when Jesus told Peter that, I'm going to be arrested and I'm going to be executed and crucified, and Peter just freaks out. No, we're never going to let that happen. And what did Jesus say back to Peter? It's one of the strongest things. In fact, it might be the strongest thing that Christ ever said to anybody. He said, "Get thee behind me, Satan, thou art a stumbling block unto me." I mean, this is Peter. This is his boy. This is going to be the first pope, okay? The rock upon whom the church will be built, and he calls it Satan. Dude, that is hardcore. And it's the same thing here. I mean, thanks for being concerned, y'all, but you are not going to do anything to get me to turn away from the truth. There's an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, if there are any Trekkies out there, where Picard was captured by the Cardassians, and they took him into some room, and there were, I can't remember how many lights there were up on the wall. I think there were 4 lights up on the wall. And this general comes in that's torturing him, and he says, "Dude, how many lights are there?" And Picard says, "There's 4 lights." And the general says, "No, there's 5. And Picard says, "No, there's 4. He says, "No, there's 5. And then the general